absolutely unfairly.
Why shouldn't someone see all of that as racist?
I think the term racist, Chris, has become a label that is too often deployed by the left, Democrats in this country, simply to try to silence and punish and suppress people they disagree with, speech that they don't want to hear. The reality is that this president has been a president for all Americans, whether you look at historically low black unemployment rates, historically low Hispanic unemployment rates, or if you look at what he's doing on immigration to protect safety, security, rising wages for all American citizens.
But when he questioned, and let's say there's a long record here, when he questioned whether or not Barack Obama was an American citizen, when he said the people in his announcement that Mexico is sending to this country are not their best, they're rapists, they're drug dealers, and some are good people, when he called for a total and complete shutdown of the Muslim ban, something I know you were very involved in, that's not protecting the American people, that is playing the race card.
I couldn't disagree more. I mean, let's take, for example, the issue of the recent indictment we saw of 22 MS-13 gang members in California.
We're not talking about hardened criminals.
Well, but
all right, let's talk about the Obama and the birther. You don't think that questioning whether or not the president of the United States, the first black president, is an American, you don't think that there's a race quality to that?
They raised questions about John McCain's circumstances of birth. They raised questions about...
No, there were never raised questions about John McCain. There was a question about whether he was born in the Panama Canal or not. There was never a race question about John McCain.
I fundamentally disagree with the view that if you criticize somebody and they happen to be a different color skin, that makes it a racial criticism. In fact, he wasn't
criticizing them. He was questioning whether he's an American.
You saw from Congresswoman Presley this week that she was saying that if you're brown, you have to speak like a brown person. If you're black, you have to speak like a black person. That's the kind of ideology the president is rejecting. If you want to have a colorblind society, it means you can criticize immigration policy, you can criticize people's views, you can ask questions about where they're born, and not have it be seen as racial.
And can you also say, go back where you came from?
First of all, and I'm glad that we can now get to what I think we really want to focus on. With the send her back chant, the president was clear that he disagreed with it.
No, well, he was clear after the fact. He let it go on for 13 seconds, and it was only when the chant diminished that he started talking again.
Right,
he said nothing there, and he said nothing in his tweet. I promise I'm going to give you, but he said nothing there or in his tweet after the rally that indicated any concern about the chant.
Right, but I want to get to the core issue. The president was clear that he said he disagreed with that tweet. But the core issue is that all the people in that audience and millions of patriotic Americans all across this country are tired of being beat up, condescended to, looked down upon, talked down to by members of Congress on the left in Washington, D.C., and their allies in many quarters of the media. And let's get specific about it. You saw the quotes from Representative Omar saying some people did something about 9/11. And yes, if you watch it in context, it's worse. You saw the quotes from Representative Omar talking about how, oh, well, we talk about al-Qaeda in a menacing tone. And by the way, she's giggling throughout this interview. But we don't talk about the Army in a menacing tone. And yes, if you watch it in context, which I have, it's even worse. And perhaps most shocking of all were the comments made by Representative Ocasio-Cortez saying that our border agents are running concentration camps, and therefore they are Nazis, and therefore everyone in that audience, and you and me and everyone who supports our Border Patrol are by extension Nazi sympathizers. We support Nazis if we support border agents. And I have one more point on that I have to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Is that I'm a Jew, as an American Jew. I am profoundly outraged by the comments from Ocasio-Cortez. It is a historical smear. It is a sinful comment. It minimizes the death of 6 million of my Jewish brothers and sisters. It minimizes their suffering. And it paints every patriotic law enforcement officer as a war criminal. And those are the comments, Chris, that we need to be focusing on.
Well, the president says that the 4 congresswomen hate America. Here he is.
I can tell you this. You can't talk that way about our country. Not when I'm the president.
But during his 2016 campaign and even as president, Mr. Trump has been as critical of this country as anything the squad has ever said. Take a look.
I think President Obama
has been the most ignorant president in our history.
Nobody respects us. They're laughing at us. We don't know what we're doing. Rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape of our nation.
We got a lot of killers. Why, you think our country's so innocent? Do you think our country's so innocent?
Why is what those congressmen said, and you pointed out some things, and I'm not going to defend everything that the squad has said. There are a lot of things they've said that I think are just wrong and very deeply troubling. But why is what those congresswomen have said in general any worse than what you just heard Donald Trump say? President Obama is ignorant. This country is killers, on and on.
It's a great question. So I want to drill down on it because it's really the heart of the debate that we're having in this country right now. Anybody who's running for office, right, left, or center, always points out where they think America can do better, where they think America needs to go. But there's a fundamental distinction between people who think that we need to lean into and strengthen America's core values, whether it be our constitutional values, the rule of law, the principles of Western civilization, or people who think that we basically need to turn America into Venezuela. For example...
Wait. First, wait.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. The fact of the matter is that people can have a legitimate difference of opinion about policies, whether we want to go one way, we want to go another. Under the Constitution that you so believe in, and I believe in, the First Amendment allows everybody to say it. We're not talking about constitutional rights. The president said that President Obama has been the most ignorant president in our history. When asked about Putin, he said, there are a lot of killers. You think our country's so innocent? That isn't, his view. That's being sharply critical of the United States, as critical as the four members of the squad have been.
Right, what I'm saying is there's a canyon-sized difference between saying that we need to have better enforcement of our immigration laws to protect U.S. citizens, that we need to have better trade deals to end the deindustrialization.
That isn't what I'm talking about.
Yes, it is, because the president ran a campaign that could be summarized in 2 words: America first. There's a huge difference between America first and an ideology that runs down America. If you want to sum up...
You don't think the president ran down, lock her up? The president is not American? Look, nobody has any problem with what the president's policies have been. It's when he goes into stoking racial fears. I've never called any of his tweets racist, but there's no question that he is stoking racial divisions.
Chris, the core element of the president's philosophy is America first. Saying that America needs to improve to get closer to an America first ideal, as the president did as a candidate, criticizing Obama, criticizing our trade deals, our foreign policy deals, our immigration policies, is out of love for America. Saying, as Representative Ocasio-Cortez did, that illegal immigrants are in effect more American than Americans